Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to my new video where we are going to go over 5 common traps that people fall into when they are looking to try and climb in League of Legends. Now, this is going to be kind of there's not really going to be any gameplay or any just practice tool stuff where I'm showing stuff. Like in-game stuff. This is going to be more just about your ideas and your mindset when you're going into games. So bear with me if this is not your kind of thing. If you're new to the channel, my name is Lowfit. I do educational content, I do tip videos, do guide videos, and just try and help people climb out of the low elos. So if that interests you, please remember to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. Alright, and let's just jump right into it now. The number one thing that I really think is extremely important is stagnation. Since you're looking at this kind of video, I'm hoping that you're not that kind of person, but do not stagnate and think that you know best when you are when you've played a champion a lot, or when you've played it a couple times and you think, hey, I'm playing this champion to the max, it's always my teammates' fault. It's like, for example, on this account I've played a lot of Zyra and Urgot, and it would be a terrible thing for me to think that I am playing these two champions at the highest level and that I am playing them perfectly and there's no way for me to improve. Whenever I see these two champions played on the other team, or maybe some of the other champions I play, I am always keeping a very close eye on what strategies they're using, maybe something I knew I can add to my kit to make myself a better all-around player. This is something you really should be checking out. Because what happens is you see a great strategy that someone's using. Say someone is, a great example of a strategy would be someone that's an Alistar, and he rushes Moby Boots and he roams very, very quickly. And just goes all around to the other lanes, and he does a lot of tower dives in the mid lane or the top lane. This is something you should try yourself. And what two things might happen. One thing that could happen here is they're going to show you a distinct way to counter that strategy that you are implementing, that you saw someone else use, and you will know how to counter it in the future, which is great. And second, you might just do extremely well with that strategy. So it is always good to try out other things that you see other people doing. And this is kind of how metas and how really overpowered champions like come in, like something like Yorick probably wasn't really on too many people's radar, but now is getting played so much in pro play just off people watching other people play and seeing success and trying to implement it themselves. So if you see someone doing something really cool, try and do that yourself. Try and implement it, and you're going to see some strategies to go up against it. And just really overall, this is going to help you think a different way about League, and it's going to help just make your game a little bit better. And yeah, that will wrap up the first trap in stagnating with your gameplay. And this really it's a terrible thing, because if you're stagnated, it feels like, oh, I can never get better at this game. I just have this static cap where I'm always held back by my teammates, are always held back by this one thing. So just get out of that mindset, and you will do yourself quite a big favor. Alright, and getting into the second trap. Now I want to talk about the lane dominance trap, and this is extremely highlighted quite well with the champion on my screen right now in Darius. Now, he is a extremely strong laner that a lot of people can play him. He is very simple to play inside of the lane, and they always do extremely well inside of the lane. But when it comes to team fights, because more people are added to the equation, there are going to be things that arise that be like, hey, I'm always winning my lane, I'm always doing well, but when it comes to grouping up my team, we never do well. A common issue with Darius players is it's extremely hard to team fight with this. You're getting in this trap where you're always doing well in lane. You're picking lane dominant champions, something like Pantheon, something like Darius, but you're not able to translate that into the late game, or into team fights, or into split pushing. I want you to take a critical look at your champion pool, and if you see a champion that you always feel like you can win lane on, but you're not able to carry over those type of leads to the late game, I want you to focus on a couple different things. First up, I want you to focus on spreading your lead that you're acquiring from your lane. How you'll do this is, a great example is a bot lane that has a Caitlyn and a range support, and what they do is they take the top tower, they rotate. They take the top tower, or they take the bottom tower, and then they rotate. They take the top tower, then they take the Rift Herald, and then they take the mid lane tower, and then they go over to the dragon. They're getting a bunch of global gold for their team and getting as many objectives as possible and taking advantage of their strong power in the early game. The last thing you want to do is just be trying to like tower dive the same guy over and over again, just trying to kill him over and over again, and like just end up getting diminishing returns with like 200 gold kills, 150 gold kills, when you could be doing a lot more around the map, maybe pressuring the enemy at their red buff. Invading the jungler is a huge thing you can do when you're really far ahead in the early game. Taking scuttles can be very big, getting very deep vision and warding. So really don't fall into the trap of being a lane dominant player and then blaming your team when you're not able to close out the game. This is really heavily on you when you are playing these types of champions, because these types of champions put you in such a great position in the early game where you are just the world's your oyster. You really need to start just affecting the map as early as possible. You need to start doing those Pantheon ults in the bot lane and getting your bot lane ahead, and really do not just don't look at your teammates when you are trying to carry and better yourself. And that will wrap up this common trap. Okay, and number 3, for the biggest trap that I think a lot of people fall into. I should have probably put this as the first one because it is so extremely important, and it is so common with me, where I help out quite a few people with coaching and OPGG reviews, and kind of guiding along people in certain ways to help them climb. And I've helped a lot of people out of bronze, silver, and gold. But what I hear a lot from people is, hey, my team is terrible. I'm getting these feeding teammates. I'm getting these inting teammates. I'm getting these AFKing teammates. I'm getting all this thing, and all this negative energy is going straight and going towards blaming the teammates for every single loss. What I want you to do, the number one thing when you are going into the league, this is going to really help with your mindset, and I feel that it can really help out a lot of people that are very prone to tilt, is only blaming and getting mad at things that you can change in the game. And this is staying away from teammates. This is only critiquing on what you could have done better in the game. I do not want to hear I don't want someone to send me a message and be like, hey, I'm trying to climb out of bronze, but I have terrible teammates. This is like my least favorite message to get. I love hearing people come in to be like, hey, I'm trying out these different champions. I'm trying out these different play styles. I'm really putting in a lot of games, and I'm trying to get better. I'm not just focusing on the numbers. I'm not just focusing on, oh, I'm missing out on so much LP because of teammates. I'm really a lot more likely to respond to people that are trying to look inside themselves to get better, as opposed to looking at their allies to try and magically get better, even though they're always different. You never are able to communicate with people in low elo anyway effectively, so do not focus on them. Focus on what you could have done better in the game. Obviously, you're gonna have rough games. You have rough games like this where maybe you have a feeding teammate. Maybe you have I think I remember this, Aliza and Moby Boots 1 and 8, and I mean, I could have blamed that game on them, but I could have done so many different things where I could have done better in the game. You need to look at every loss as a learning experience and what you could have done better. Maybe a different item set could have been better in the situation that you were in the team fight. Maybe you could have roamed more in the early game. Maybe you could have affected the enemy jungler at their buffs more. Maybe you could have put out some more vision that could have been crucial to stopping someone getting picked and stopping an assassin from snowballing. So really, do not fall into the trap of blaming people that are external. Only focus on things that are internal if you want to personally improve. There's no way you're going to help out random people in solo queue improve when you are playing with them and yelling at them, why didn't you do this, this, and this? You should be looking at, why didn't I do this, this, and this, and why didn't I carry this game to such an effect where we were able to win the game. I know this is a little bit, maybe it's a little bit obvious to a lot of people, but I get so many messages where they're always blaming external forces, always focus on improving yourself, and I think this is a very healthy way to approach the game, and it's a lot more, it can be a little rough because you do get difficult teammates, but this is definitely the best way, in my opinion, to look at climbing in League of Legends. Okay, we're going to get into trap number 4. Now, I see this quite a bit with people, and that is playing unreliable champions, that is playing very snowball-y, maybe assassin, maybe fighter champions, and they're able to just absolutely wreck a large amount of games. Maybe they're able to just win lane phases a lot. It's kind of similar to the lane dominance trap, but what's specific to this trap is they do extremely well and carry a lot of games. Maybe they win 45-50% of games, but they stagnate there. And with the snowball assassin trap, what the biggest issue is they are focusing on the games that they are winning, and they blame the teammates for the losses because they know they have, in their mind, they have proof that they know how to carry in games that they've won previously and carried very hard. This is very common in Yasuo mains. That's why I have this Yasuo picture up. But what I want you guys to realize is when you have 200, I've seen this a lot, when you have like 200 games played of Yasuo and you have 53% win rate, maybe 52. I've very rarely seen a Yasuo player with above 55% win rate, is because it's such an inconsistent champion. He is such a hard champion to play at a consistent level. Only a few people can do this to a high degree that you really need to stay away from champions like this. I know it's really cool. The reason why this is a trap is because Yasuo is an extremely fun champion to play when you're ahead. I mean, I even enjoy playing it when, like, I have Snowball, but it's absolutely terrible when you're behind and you can't consistently do it where you're able to climb to the place that you want to be because you're not able to consistently perform in team fights. Try and pick champions that you can consistently perform with it to avoid this trap. I know that there are like things like Zed and Yasuo are very fun, very flashy, are very prone to do like highlight plays, and like people like in all chat be like, God damn, that guy's really good at this game. But it's going to eat up a lot of your time. It's going to eat up a lot of your games, and you're not going to be able to consistently perform as something like, for example, Orianna would be an extremely consistent champion that you know that you can perform at a certain level. You know you can get a certain amount of damage out in each team fight. But when you play something like Yasuo, all it takes is just like one binding or one CC to hit you, and you're just completely screwed. And the amount of damage you did in that team fight is 10% of what you did in the previous team fight, whereas something like Orianna, you're usually going to get a QWR off. So look for consistent champions. I think this is extremely important when you are looking to climb. Do not fall into the trap of these very high skilled champions. I do not want to discourage, maybe there's a one-trick Yasuo in here that really enjoys playing it. I mean, if you enjoy playing it and it's more important than climbing to you, by all means keep playing Yasuo. But I think that this is a really big issue for a lot of people when they are looking to climb. If you guys have any questions for me regarding any of these traps, hit me up in the comments down below. I try to respond to every single one, and I will help you guys out. And also there will be a Discord link in the description if you want to have just send a couple direct messages to me, or pop into a voice lobby. Sometimes when I have some free time, I do like kind of one-on-one coaching for people that really need some help. And that will wrap up this trap, very well personified by the classic Yasuo main. Alright, and for the final trap, that is probably the most common thing, probably the most common issue that I talk about in my OPGG reviews to help people out and climb. If you're a veteran to the channel, you probably have heard me say this 100 times, but if I could just reach maybe 10 or 15 new people that aren't really thinking about this, I think it will be rather important now. This trap is, you're playing way too many different champions. You're not able to master them to the level where you can take advantage of snowballs in a way where it's going to be consistent. You really should be focusing on 2 roles. Preferentially, one of those should be a support secondary role with easy champions like Soraka and Janna, unless you want to be a support main. And then have your primary role with 2 champions, 3 at the absolute most. And if you're looking at 3 champions you want to have in your champion pool, one of those really need to be a simple champion like Annie, like I said, Soraka, maybe something like Karthus. something like Garen, something like Zinzhao or Warwick, or something like that, when you are really just playing a bunch of champions and just kind of being like, oh, I lost one lane, I'm never going to try this champion again. It's a very bad idea to take. I really want you guys to focus on this. It's kind of a tip that I usually tell people. It's kind of a challenge that I've told a few people. I've challenged a few people after doing OPGG reviews. I said, hey, I want you to do 20 games and only play 2 champions. And if you do not climb 1 rank, I will buy you a skin. And I've told this to maybe probably 30 to 40 people, and not a single person have claimed a skin yet, which is extremely interesting. Either they were unable to play those 2 champions for the 20 games, or they were able to climb a division by playing a consistent champion pool. So I really want to focus on this and be just, if you take one thing from this video, please just have a very condensed champion pool. This is going to be the #1 tip to help you climb. I know this has been in so many of my different videos, and you've heard me talk about this so many different times, but I really want to hammer this down with you guys. Just play 2 to 3 champions and really focus on getting good with them and experimenting with the different matchups. Be like, hey, this champion's super good into this champion. Like, for example, I played Veigar support into Braum, and I just absolutely love the lane. I'm able to just stack up extremely well with my passive, and I'm able to counter a lot of his all-in potential with my E-Cage because it is quite telegraphed. He doesn't have the highest amount of lane threat, so I'm able to scale very well, and I'm able to understand that matchup because I've played it so many goddamn times. I think I have over 1 million mastery points throughout my several accounts with Veigar, and I have these certain matchups that I always bring him out, and he's a little bit of a pocket pick. And these are things you're going to start developing once you put a lot of time into a champion. You start developing really good matchups that you know that you can just consistently win the game over and over with. All right, that will be the final trap. Do not play too many champions, please, and please do not ask for an OPGG review when you have 40 unique, 30 unique champions played. With 20 games each. That is the worst thing for me to see. That will wrap up the video. You guys take it easy. Have a great day. If you enjoy the content, please remember to like and subscribe. And as always, guys, take it easy.